unexpected. So let's get right to it. This is actually one of my favorite all-time plants ever. This is our summer blooming dwarf lilac live plant M79120, going for $28.78 with 3 easy payments of $8.72. Now, what are we looking at? Are we looking at a genuine lilac? Or are we looking at something else? This is a lilac that performs, smells, and looks just like your favorite grandma's lilac that bloomed right when school got out, end of May. But this lilac blooms in mid to late summer. Now, how does that work? Well, what this comes from an ancient region of China called the Guangdong region. Now, this one region was not hit by an ancient glacial movement that destroyed all life forms around it. There was one valley that was preserved, and in that valley was this very unique form of lilac. Now, what makes this so unique, aside from being an ancient plant, is that it blooms in the summer. All lilacs are spring bloomers, and the problem with having a spring blooming lilac is a late frost. If you get a late frost, your lilac's done. You don't get any flowers all year. So now, if you're a lilac lover or you're a new gardener, you want something dependable, easy to grow, and is definitely going to come back year after year, you need the dwarf lilac. Now, I've mentioned something too. The word dwarf is very important because lilacs in general, the syringas that we're used to, they can be 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot tall. And that makes it very hard to manage in the garden, makes it hard to know where to put that thing. As well, you have to be out there with your shears cutting it regularly if you don't want it to look out of hand. The lilac we have here, it gets about 4 to 5 feet tall maximum, and it stays that way, and that's it. And it also gets about 4 to 5 feet wide. You have a perfect, circular mounding shape, easy to take care of. I have a small plant here, actually. This one's just getting going. It's about a year old. You can see all the flowers going on. Now, what is great about this is that it blooms prolifically for a very long time. You can see here what you're getting right out of the box is a pretty large plant. This is in our half-gallon pot, and what's unique about that is we don't ship a lot of plants in these big pots. Remember, the shipping is free. You're not paying for the size or the weight or anything. And the plant itself is over a year old. Now, what's great about this is when you get this home, you're not going to have to baby it so much because it's already got a good root ball. It's been alive for a while. It's passed through one winter already. Now, some things you want to know about this lilac, where to plant it. You want to put this in full sun. It can handle some dappled sun, but the more sun, the better in terms of flower. If you want flower production like that, put it in the full sun. Second of all, is that this lilac is going to produce tons and tons of flowers. So expect to have the bees and the butterflies and even hummingbirds coming to your garden, which is great. If you don't like those creatures, don't plant this. No, I'm just kidding. Lastly, is that this lilac smells just like your favorite lilac. It doesn't just play the part in terms of visual, it smells just like your favorite lilac. And why that's important? Because if you love lilac like I do, if that lilac fragrance brings you back to your childhood, getting out of school, having summer break like it does for most people, you're going to extend that in the garden and enjoy that for a very long time. Now, I want to mention one thing. I did make a brief mistake. I said earlier, 4 feet tall. It really gets about 2.5 feet tall. And that was just me mixing up the next plant that we have, which is the hydrangea. So you're going to have about 2.5 feet tall, 2.5 feet wide. It's a really nice compact plant there. Excuse me for saying the wrong thing earlier. Now, when we're looking at this, what we're looking at is a plant that has survived generations, I mean, thousands of years in a very private and secluded area in China. It's only recently made its way to the States. And that's why you're really not going to see it practically in anyone's garden. That's why when people do see it in your garden, they're going to be blown away. I mean, they're going to look and say, how do you have a lilac blooming in July? How do you have that? Where can I get this? You're gonna say, "Well, I got it from a secret place called Roberta's on QVC." So, it's definitely one of those stunners. The last thing that I like about this is a very long-lived perennial that's very easy to grow. This can handle winters very cold winters. You can grow this anywhere in the country. You don't need to have a winter to grow it. Full sun is best. It likes a moderate amount of water. Once it gets well established, they're pretty hardy. You don't need to be out there babying them. Butterflies love this, by the way. Butterflies, just in general, with the speak of the monarch, are all of their numbers are dwindling over time. We want to really put things in the garden that are going to act as food sources for the wildlife. So that's a little bit of a mindful gardening technique. When you plant things, does this also serve the greater ecosystem, aside from just the beauty that I'm going to be putting into the yard? So last, I'm just going to mention this again. This is M71920, our one-piece summer blooming dwarf lilac live plant. This is at $28.78 with 3 easy pays of $3 and with 3 easy pays of $8.72. And what makes this so special is that this is a hard plant to get. I mean, this is not something you're going to find at the big box store. This is something you're going to enjoy for many, many years to come. And if you love lilac, if you have memories of seeing lilac at your grandmother's house, this is going to extend that greatly. So that's all that I have for you in terms of our lilac. We're going to wrap this one up and go on to my next favorite plant, which is the hydrangea, which we'll see very shortly. So, yes, excellent. I love this. M1